Good afternoon, everyone. I'll say that again because the spirit in this place is so strong and so powerful. Good afternoon, everyone. I greet you in the Zulu language by saying the words, Sawubona. It means, I see you. You ought to turn to the person next to you and say, Sawubona. I see you. I see your struggles. I see your fears. I see the essence of you. I see you. I say that to you today because that is what we are missing in this world, is the ability to see one another for who they are and the struggles that they're going through. If we can get to a new place where we begin to see one another, we can change this world and change the oppression that is happening to the Palestinian people. I want to make clear that I understand and know the fear that comes with someone like myself standing before you. I am a Christian pastor. I am a Lutheran pastor. What does that mean? For many of you, many of us come with our understandings of what evangelicals are. And I stand to tell you today that I am not of the brand that disgusts you and should disgust me and does disgust me. I am a believer in Jesus Christ. I serve a God who is of our forefathers Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. But I do not subscribe from the school of thought that puts Israel above every other nation on this earth. It is time in our world to call what is wrong, wrong. It is time to speak of truth and call false things false narratives. And what the evangelicals present to you and to I is a false narrative of what Christianity really is. It is not to be tolerated. It is not to be stood for. It is to be called out as a blatant lie. I am not a Zionist. I am not a person that believes that our religion as Christian hinges upon a belief that Jesus will come back and raise up Israel. I do not subscribe to that. And I tell you today that I stand here believing and telling you today that what the Palestinian people have endured by the occupation of Israel is wrong and needs to stop now. As a Christian, I have a Muslim friend who said the other day that yes, the Word of God says an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, but it doesn't say one eye for 10,000 eyes. It doesn't say if 1,139 people are killed and you go and kill 27,000 people. That is not what the Word of God that I believe in dictates and says. The Word of God that I believe in calls for mercy, calls for grace, calls for forgiveness, calls for the end of apartheid and genocide and occupation. That's the God that I believe in. When I look at us today in this sacred place, on this hallowed ground, I think of our ancestors who once worshiped and traded their wares and had celebrations on this place that we call Congo Square. We have an ancestral tree here, and I'm reminded that 4 years ago, we had what was called an slave rebellion enactment, where we started up by La Place in Louisiana, and 300 of us dressed in the garments of our enslaved ancestors, and we marched from that area right down here to Congo Square. in a display and a reenactment of how enslaved people rose up and said, we will tolerate it no more. That this day we will demand our freedom. The word that I believe in says there is a time for everything. There is a time to be quiet, and there is a time to make some noise. There is a time to sit down, and there is a time to stand up. There is a time to mourn and a time to rejoice. For the Palestinian people, and indeed for all people, now is the time to stand up. Now is the time to demand the release and the freedom for Palestine. Do I have Jewish friends? Yes, I do. And I'm sorry for their loss. But the loss that the Jews have incurred does not amount to the loss that the Palestinian people have occurred and have incurred and endured for 75 years. It must stop. It must end. And I tell you today that I stand here with courage and with boldness. I stand here and I want you to know, and you need to know, that my denomination that I'm a part of as a Lutheran pastor, they don't like me standing here. But I don't subscribe to that school. I've never stood in fear. I've never held back my words. I won't today, nor will I ever. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And what is happening to the Palestinian people is wrong. The same way that there were the enslaved people who rose up and said, we will be slaves no longer. And they came and they marched from La Place into Congo Square to say, we want our freedom now. Anyone who oppresses and holds down a people in the way that the Palestinian people have been held down by the occupation on the West Bank and in Gaza, those people who have oppressed them should expect that there is a time and a day that is coming when people will take it no more. I'm all for nonviolence. I'm all for turning the other cheek. But those who oppress people, those who hold them down from being able to feed their children, hold jobs to be able to put food on the table, to be able to have proper health care and proper education, those who steal all those things from a people should expect that one day those same people are going to rise up and demand freedom. I believe in the word of God that I stand and hold fast to. There's a verse in the Bible that I read. It is recorded in the prophet's book of Micah, the 4th chapter, verse 4. It says, and each man will sit under his own oak tree or grapevine, and no one shall make him afraid. Right now on the West Bank, in Gaza, many Palestinian people are afraid. You and some of you, when you saw my collar and you saw my black suit, even the planners were afraid. What will Pastor Manning say? What I say is that we need to take courage. We need to exhibit the same boldness that you are exhibiting now, so that people will not be fearful any longer, to raise their voices, to demand what is right, and stop the genocide from going on. What I say to you is that there is a time to recognize that we are one humanity. We live on one earth for an appointed time. We get to live here as one people for a very short time. And there are people that are driven and trying to divide us racially, and we will not stand for it any longer. We are one people, bound together. The same blood that runs through you runs through me. No people deserve to be oppressed. No people deserve to be fearful of how they're going to feed their family, or fearful of attack, or being fearful because of occupation to drive down the street, or to walk down the street, or to be fearful when they have to come to a checkpoint. This is not to be tolerated. And one last thing, I am filled with disgust over the fact that my tax dollars that I pay have gone to fuel a war that is killing innocent women and children. I stand in righteous indignation that what taxes I pay are complicit in the destruction and the genocide of a people. And let me tell you this, things will not change until we impact the almighty dollar. Oh, you didn't hear me. Things will not change until those who dwell in greed, those who dwell in deceitful tactics and trying to gain the almighty dollar, things aren't going to change until we hurt them where it really hurts. In their wallets, in their pocketbooks, in their bank accounts. I believe that we are mighty and that we are strong. And I pray that you will not lose hope. I stand here today that you will recognize, so that you will recognize that there are other people like me that are on your side. Why? Because the time has come that we don't need to take sides. We're all one people. And if it happened to African American people, it is also now happening to you. And we've got to learn to fight for one another, to stand up for one another, to walk with one another, to march with one another, to chant with one another, to fight for one another, and to believe that a better day is coming. So raise your voice, stand tall and stand firm. Don't you ever give up. Let's keep on marching. Let's keep on rallying. Let's keep on demanding freedom for Palestine, and end to genocide, and end to the occupation, and end to apartheid. It is wrong. We're going to call it wrong. And every so-called evangelical that wants to take sides needs to sit down and be still and quit telling lies and a false narrative to Palestinian people and to all people. Do not lose hope. A better day is coming. Your children, our children, see, because what we don't understand is that the Palestinian children are my children too. Palestinians, grandmothers and mothers and fathers, they are my people too. And once we understand that, then this whole world is going to be changed. So I tell you, my church is Broadmoor Community Church. We have one mission. It's love times two, to love Jesus and to love you. If I say I love the Lord, I've got to also love everybody else. And our vision is to love God and to love everybody else, and to make sure that all we just operate by is love. So I pray that you will feel that from me, that you would know that from me. And as Micah 4:4 says, that each man would dwell under his own oak tree, a grapevine, and that no one will make him or her afraid. And so I envision a better day when no one, especially the Palestinian people, will be afraid. So I say to you as I end, Sawubona, I see you. You don't even know how profound that is. I am visually impaired. I am 96% blind. I cannot see you with my own eyes. I cannot see one of your faces. I operate by the goodness and the grace of God. But I see you, your struggle, your fears, your passion, your desire, and your hope for a better day. So when I say to you, Sawubona, I see you. Let that same Zulu acknowledgement spread throughout the land so that every people everywhere begin to see one another's struggles, fears, and passion, and desire that all Palestinian people and everyone would never be a victim of apartheid and genocide ever again. God bless you.
Reverend might not be able to see you very well, but he can feel you. One more loud round of applause. God bless you.